In this video, we'll discuss how we can use the Kafka protobuf streams from Bitquery in the JS language to get important data in real time with low latency. For this video tutorial, we are subscribing to the Solana transactions topic. That means we are trying to get the Solana transactions data with the minimal latency using the protobuf Kafka streams. So without any further delay, let's try to understand the code. So these are all the imports that we are going to make. We are importing Kafka from Kafka.js. We are importing BS58. Then we are importing load proto from Bitquery protocol schema. It is a npm package published by Bitquery that helps to load schema of a particular protobuf message, which would help us to decode the message received from the protobuf string. We are also importing compression types, compression codecs, LZ4. These are for compressing the messages received so that we could console log them. We are importing UUID 4 from UUID. The purpose of this library is over here. It is to create a random hexadecimal value which would be added to the group ID as the username hyphen ID, so that for a same set of credentials, no two consumers are having a similar group ID. We have defined our variables over here, the username, the password, and the topic. Now let's try to understand the functions that we have declared. One is convert bytes and one is print protobuf message. So what is the convert byte function? It just gets a buffer value and converts it into a readable string format and using the BS58 library and its function. So now let's try to understand the print protobuf message function. What it does is receives the message from the stream, then it defines a key value pair from the message received. If the value is an array, then it will console log the prefix key repeated. The prefix is just a blank space defined earlier. Then we'll check for each item in the value if the type of item is object, and if the item is not null, we'll just console log the prefix and the IDX, which is the item number, and we'll hit a recursion print protobuf message for item ident plus 4 encoding. Else, we'll just console log the prefix, the item number, and the item itself. Now, if the value is not array, then if there is a value and the type of value is object and the value is buffer, then we'll console log the prefix key and we'll hit the convert bytes for the value with encoding. The encoding over here is base 58. So that means we have a value which is buffer. So to get a readable format, we'll pass that value to the convert bytes function. Else, if there is a value and type of value is object and is not buffer, then we'll just console log prefix and key and hit a recursion with value and indent plus 4 and encoding base 58. Else, if none of this is satisfied, we just console log the prefix, the key, and value. So this was the print protobuf message function logic. Now over here, we are initializing our Kafka object with new Kafka, the client identity as username. The brokers are the following. You could go either with the non-SSL version or the SSL version. These are the brokers for non-SSL version. And for this video, we are going with non-SSL version as it is easier to understand. Then we are defining the SASL object with mechanism as the Scram 512, the username as the username and password as the password variable defined earlier. Now we are defining the consumer as Kafka.consumer with the group ID as username hyphen the ID, which was a random hexadecimal value. Now we have a run function, which is an asynchronous function, where we are defining a past block message with the load proto function that we have imported earlier and passing value to that. So the load proto function, it takes the topic that we are subscribing and it returns the schema for that and returns the schema related to that particular topic, which would help us to decode the message received from the protobuf stream. Now we let the consumer connect, then we subscribe to the topic and define the from beginning as false since we are trying to get the latest Solana transaction. Then finally we hit the consumer.run and auto commit as false. And for each message, we are trying to get the buffer as message.value and we are declaring a variable decoded as parsed idl block message dot decode buffer. Then we are getting the message object as the parsed block message dot to object decoded slash comma bytes buffer. And then we are passing this message object variable to the print protobuf message function. Also, if there is a error, then we are console.logging. Then we are printing that error as well. So in the end of script, we are running the run function and we are catching the error using console.error. So now for this tutorial, I have defined in the .env file my variables, which are the username and password. So what I need to do is I'll type this statement require .env .config, then I'll replace these with process.env dot username and the password as process.env dot password. I'll save this into file and I will run this using npm start as I have defined a script start as node consumer.js. You could just simply enter node consumer.js if that's more suitable to you. I'll hit enter. Okay, so this is the error I'm getting. Okay, so I have to install the .env actually. Now let's run this. You can see our consumer has started and connected to the topic. You can see, and we are printing the Solana transactions. So that's how you can subscribe to any topic related to any chain from using the Bitquery Kafka protobuf streams. You can use these Kafka streams to build many scalable applications of real world use case like balance tracking, balance monitoring, or trade monitoring systems for maybe millions of users. And the streams are not just restricted to Solana. We have these streams for Ethereum, Base, BSC, and Tron as well. Also, if anyone was finding trouble to follow up with the tutorial, we have the tutorial documentation in our docs. Also, I'll be sharing the link to the code base in the video description. Also, one more thing I would like to add is that we have published another NPM package that wraps up all this code so that you could just enter your username, password, and the topic you want to subscribe to. And with just two lines of code, you could run the Kafka instance, subscribe to a particular topic, and console.log the messages received from protobuf Kafka streams as shown in this video. You could also modify this code according to your use case to store that info into any particular solution of your choice, maybe may it be Supabase or S3 or MongoDB. So thanks for watching, like, share, and subscribe, and make sure to join the Telegram channel from the description of the video.